Listener discretion is advised. This episode discusses real-life criminal cases, including potentially distressing details. While we approach these stories with care and respect, some content may not be suitable for all audiences, especially young listeners.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Texas City Tells, the podcast, Unsolved. My name is Ramari.
I'm Jennifer.
And today we have Detective Winstead here to present us with a case that we're going to help him solve. Give us the details.
Okay, this is a case, the victim in this case is Billy Blanchard. This is a case that happened October the 1st, 2010, so almost 15 years ago. And Mr. Blanchard lived in the 5100 block of FM 7065 or Texas Avenue, right there real close to the railroad tracks on Highway 3.
Okay.
So you have 7065, and then you have Oak Street, and then the railroad tracks, and then Highway 3, so it's like right there. Actually, the building that he lived in is no longer there. They've since tore it down over the last, 10 years or so. But he lived in an apartment, single kind of apartment upstairs by himself. And this all starts by his friends or family haven't heard from him in about 24 hours, so they come down here to check on him. And they find him deceased.
Those are some good friends and family, because I don't feel like it's very common for just being radio silent for 24 hours. People automatically come to look for you.
I believe they had plans, if I remember correctly. They had plans for Saturday, maybe afternoon.
Okay.
And they hadn't heard for him. He's confirming that he's going.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what prompted them to come down and hey, what's going on? He's not answering his cell phone. They hadn't heard from him. And so they go upstairs and they find him. He's laying in a pool of blood. And they, of course, they don't know what's wrong with him. They just know that he's not alive or deceased. And they call the police. And then typically the normal routine would be the patrol officers, the uniform officers would respond initially to find out, hey, what's going on? And they see, this is something that the detectives in crime scene need to be dispatched to. And that's when the detectives in crime scene arrive and start processing everything.
Were the friends or family that showed up able to just easily access his apartment? Like the door was unlocked?
This man, the door was unlocked and open.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So the crime scene, they come in, they take photographs they do overall photographs of the crime scene. They do things of specific nature that draw their attention, like blood, shell casing, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And during their investigation, they learned that Mr. Blanchard had been shot with a shotgun. And they process the scene. Detectives start going out, kind of fanning out. So right across the alleyway, it's apartments in the alleyway there. Across the alleyway is what's still there is called the Timothy Apartments. Mm-hmm. It's in like the 5100 block of Timothy. This is all West Texas City stuff on the West Texas City end of town. And that's where their main focus is at first is, hey, we might have some witnesses here at these apartments. And they actually do find two pertinent ones that heard things that night. They didn't see anything, but they heard a gunshot. Mm-hmm. And that's what detectives do. We talk to people, do interviews. And they located another witness that was on the other side of Highway 3 the night before. This is all happening like before midnight on October the 1st. And they found another witness that saw an individual running from the alleyway. It looked like they were carrying something under their jacket or shirt, but couldn't make out what it was.
So the witnesses who heard the gunshots, did they not come out? Did they just...
They came out, but they didn't see anything. But there was one witness inside of Billy's apartment that was there when he was murdered.
You said inside of
the apartment.
Okay.
Montrell Mitchell is his name. He was not there when the police arrived, though. He left the scene that night.
Did we talk to him at some point?
Oh, yeah. He's been spoken to a few times. And if you want to believe what Mr. Mitchell has to say, he actually provides some more leads to what we think happened. Mr. Mitchell told the detectives then that he arrived in that area of town that evening, the evening before October the 1st, and he claimed that he didn't know Mr. Blanchard, but asked to borrow a cigarette and to use his phone because Mr. Mitchell's phone was dead, or the battery had died on it. And somehow he ends up upstairs inside the apartment with Mr. Blanchard, and he's there when the suspects arrive. And Mr. Mitchell describes the suspects to arrive in possibly like a silver Lincoln passenger car, and he sees two individuals get out of the car, and he knows one of them for sure by name.
Okay.
His name is Kenneth Epps, the guy that gets out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So he hears the two individuals coming up the stairs. It's wooden stairs, and it's an apartment on top of really like just a structure. There's nothing below there. I don't know if there used to be an apartment on the bottom years ago. We're talking 2010, and then Mr. Blanchard's apartment was being refurbished. There was no carpet. There were some holes in the ceiling and stuff that were being repaired. So he hears two individuals running up those wooden stairs. He hears an argument at the door, then he hears one gunshot. And then the suspects run back down the stairs and they leave.
So did he say if he saw the vehicle and saw the two individuals enough to recognize one, did he actually see the homicide take place, or was he like hiding in a bathroom?
He said he was hiding. He could hear an argument. He could not tell the detectives what was being said, and then he heard the gunshot. So he was actually hiding. And that's that. But all that matches up to, what the other two witnesses across the alleyway said. They heard one gunshot. There's one gentleman that I remember him saying that, this is in October, so it's not cold yet. In fact, it's probably still pretty warm. Mm-hmm. That his fan, he sleeps with a fan on, and then his fan had quit working, and that woke him up. And he remembers seeing the time of 3:43 a.m. And he, got his fan working again. He lay back down, and then about 2 to 3 minutes later is when he hears the gunshot. So from across the alleyway. He comes out of his apartment, goes the alleyway to investigate. He doesn't see or hear anything after that, and just goes back to bed.
Because the shotgun is a pretty distinctive sound.
To me, it is. Yeah. Yes. And so, if you look at the photographs that I provided y'all, there's an open staircase. I say it's open, but it's semi-open that goes up to the apartment. And so if somebody was, say, standing outside that door and fired off a shotgun, you would probably hear it across the alleyway. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, you would. Or if they were even inside the apartment, you may still be able to hear it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if the individual who was there at the time of the crime had never met Mr. Blanchard, but it just seems odd that he would, of all the people who would randomly attack at that exact time, was somebody he knew. Were detectives able to follow up with the person that he named, or were we not able to locate him?
Oh no, everybody that I know of that could have or needed to be interviewed has been interviewed, even back then. And then some of them here recently, and I'll say recently, since then. I'm not aware of anyone that hasn't been interviewed. I don't think all the pieces haven't fallen into place. There's a lot of other moving parts that earlier in this evening that doesn't really have anything to do with Mr. Blanchard, but like this Kenneth Epps and Montreal and a slew of other kids. These are all 16, 17-year-old boys back then. Oh, wow. They're all at the Texas City football game over here at the stadium earlier that night. And then there's other females and males, and they're hanging out. And then after the football game, they all like to congregate and all that. So they're all kind of there. And I don't know if that has anything to do with Mr. Blanchard being murdered. That was never connected in that way. But I know that, they say that Montreal Mitchell, Kenneth Epps, and a few others were at that Texas City football game, and then now they end up over here in the alleyway on the other end of town. So,
How old was Mr. Blanchard?
Mr. Blanchard was 48 at the time of his death. So, I know we were going with this. Most likely, this was based on what I learned from reading all the statements and the conversations the detectives had with everyone. This is either going to be a drug narcotic transaction and/or / robbery. Probably was what happened. Because Billy, this is Friday. It's Friday night. It's the football game. So Billy had just gotten paid a certain amount of money, and then he was found with a certain amount of money, if that makes sense. So, and there was a lot of communication by text messaging. Of course, it was flip phone in 2010, but there was text messaging going back and forth between Mr. Blanchard and some known narcotic dealers. And then, of course, Mr. Mitchell is using that same phone, kind of speaking with the same type of people.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's speculating, but
Are we allowed to know where he was shot?
yeah, he was, shot in the side, kind of left side of his body.
How would you get that type of wound? Being face to face or turning?
Yeah, he could turn, or he could be turned to the side of the person that killed him. It was a very, based on the evidence, it was a very close range shot. Like maybe me to you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you and I are talking at the door, it would be that close, or maybe even closer. But it's the evidence shows it's a very close type of shot.
Were there any leads on that vehicle?
No.
Okay.
So I say these two right here, Montreal Mitchell, he's in the case as a witness, but there's some things that are weird about what he has to say, and so you're in the apartment where somebody's murdered, and then one, you leave and don't call the police. I don't know if that's suspicious or not, but that's not normal. That's not something somebody would normally do. They would typically call the police. He wouldn't run off, and it's not like he would run off and then go call the police. He just never called the police. The police have to come find you. So that's why I say he's a potential suspect.
What did the person he identified, what was their story?
He gave some pretty good details to another witness one day I think it was in Lamarck. He was having a conversation with someone, and he provided enough details of the case that would lead you to believe that he was there. But like I was telling you, that it's not. So they have this old saying with the detectives: "It's not what you know; it's what you can prove." So there's a lot of stuff, cases like this, where you just don't have enough to charge somebody with it. But even though that you maybe suspect that they did it, but one thing that I've learned is, and obviously there's at least three people. There's two guys that get out of this car, and then there's Mr. Mitchell that's in the apartment. So you have at least three people that know about the murder. But in other cases, it's just typically these people, when they kill someone, they eventually tell somebody else. They feel like they have to get it off their chest. I'm not saying they always tell someone, but a majority of times they will tell someone. And a lot of times that's the person that we're looking for, is that person that they told. And as time passes, relationships change. We get older, things in life change. One person may move off away from the other, or go into the military or whatever, and you feel like you can talk about that now. Whereas in the moment, 15 years ago, you're going to keep that to yourself.
With this case particularly, there's so many people who it sounds like know what happened, or at least have a pretty good idea.
For sure, 3. It's just so odd that, you were let into an apartment supposedly to charge your phone, so you were relying on the kindness of someone, right? And then you witness them being murdered, and you don't at least return that kindness by calling the police. You charge your phone and then leave with the charged phone?
I mean, most people would say that's suspicious
Yeah.
because it is. It's definitely not normal that a normal person would call for help for that person. So since that's not normal, we say it's suspicious.
Yeah.
And it could be suspicious, right? That's why I'm saying Mr. Mitchell he's listed as a witness in the case, but with that being said, and then looking at the evidence, like when somebody's shot with a shotgun, there's blood evidence, and there's typically a lot of blood evidence, and we're trained to look at that blood and try to interpret it, and then let's say I don't understand it. We have other people, experts, that we can reach out to, and because there's one thing about all this is they say that the evidence never lies. People lie all the time. So these people we interview, they lie. They're human. They could lie, and they may have a motive to lie, but the evidence never lies, and that's detectives have to rely heavily on what the evidence is telling them. And I believe the evidence is telling us that Mr. Mitchell's lying. But I didn't get to interview him. I mean, this wasn't my case. So. We've tried to locate him. One of the detectives that currently still works with us, he reached out a few years ago, made contact. Oh, and it's got the typical, oh yeah, I'll come by and see you, but he never did, and then just kind of we lose contact with him.
Are there any other tips or facts that you can share with us?
I think I pretty much covered it. I mean, again, this was almost 15 years ago. That's not a long time, but it is. Trying to remember details. But if you were in that alleyway that night, because it's the pictures I gave y'all, you can kind of illustrate it better. But you have Mr. Blanchard's apartment here, and then Timothy apartment's here in this alleyway, and that alleyway runs from Oak Street all the way out to, I think that's Willow back on the other end. But I mean, if somebody was in the alleyway that night that saw a vehicle, possibly a silver Lincoln passenger car, or that's just the information we have. It could have been a white Lincoln, or it could have been a white Honda. I mean, I don't know. But if you saw, around 3:45, 3:50 in the morning on October the 1st, 2010, a vehicle or anyone in the alleyway, that would be helpful.
Did he have any family, like children?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. Texas City, it's up to you to help us solve this crime and put this one to rest. Contact Mainland Crime Stoppers with any tips or information that will lead to the arrest and completion of this case. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Mainland Community Crime Stoppers is offering up to $10,000 for any information that leads to an arrest in this case. Please call 409-945-8477 if you have any information.